Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Finger Guns podcast with Tony, Dave, and James. I am your wonderful co-host, Dave Baldwin, and I'm here with
Big T, Tony B.
And James is off today. Because, James sucks. Anyways, we wanted to bring you a special episode. We got to interview the first-time co-writer-director of National Anthem, which is a wonderful new film coming out this week starring Charlie Plummer and Eve Lindley. Tony, what did you think of that movie?
I actually really liked it.
So did I.
I was very surprised by it. I didn't really have any expectations. I didn't really know what it was about, so I was going in the movie blind, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I agree with all of those thoughts.
And it looked fucking beautiful.
It did.
Like, the cinematography was absolutely out of this world.
Looked gorgeous.
Yeah, and I really liked Charlie Plummer. And the actress's name was Eve
Lindley.
I liked her as well. They had good chemistry together.
Yes, they did. So we had the opportunity this week to interview Eve Lindley as well as the director, Luke Gilford. This movie, as I said, is his first. He's a first-time director. It's based on his book called National Anthem, America's Queer Rodeo. I believe you can find it on Amazon. From my quick search, it looked like it was there. But we got to have this wonderful little conversation with the two of them. So we hope you enjoy it. Well, thank you both for taking the time out today to talk about the film. We both really enjoyed it. Congratulations on it. Tony, you had your first question.
So my first question is for Luke. The film has stunning cinematography. I feel like you could grab any still from the film and just mount it on the wall. Did you have a vision of how you wanted the film to look in comparison to the book?
Well, thank you for that compliment. I am definitely a visual storyteller, and I do really believe in the power of visuals to transport us and to make us feel deeply. I think color is part of that. I think shooting on film is part of that. I think film has an emotional weight that just cannot really resonate from digital a lot of times. So we were really lucky enough to shoot on 35 millimeter film. And I was blessed to collaborate with Caitlin Arzmendi, our phenomenal DP, and just a dream collaborator. She was also very respectful. I mean, she originally came to me as like a fan years ago. And so I followed her on Instagram. She forced me to follow her on Instagram. So I followed along and saw her evolving as an artist and just loved everything she was doing. Yeah. And so there's a lot of mutual respect there. And part of that was also her really studying the book and seeing the kind of visual language that I set up in the book, the color tones and all of that. And especially a lot of close-ups in the book. There's very, very intimate close-up portraits of this community, addressing the viewer directly, confronting them with their existence. And then that sort of juxtaposed against these wide epic landscapes that sort of place them in, firmly in the Southwest in nature. So that was kind of our starting point, is that we wanted to really, for the visual language, to have these epic wides and then these intimate close-ups. And then we looked at Westerns together and sort of talked about translating the book into the film. And I really wanted to sort of reinvent the Western for today's world and to make it much more instead, Westerns are often about violence and nation and states, but I wanted to make it about a personal sort of spiritual journey. So we looked at Paris, Texas was a big reference point because that's also very much a spiritual journey. So yeah, we looked at films and just kind of fell in love and figured out how we were going to make this come to life.
Well, you did a very good job. It was absolutely gorgeous. Playing off the films that you watched, were there any other movies that inspired you? Because this is your first feature. So did you look at any movies besides Paris, Texas for inspiration for this?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say for the love triangle element, we looked at Y Tu Mama Tambien. And just the cinematography there is so beautiful as well, but the intimacy with the characters and the sort of rawness of it we were inspired by, and also the Misfits, Marilyn Monroe's last film, was a reference, a big reference for Carrie, her character design.
Nice, nice. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's,
Eve, you haven't spoken yet. How did you get involved in this?
I mean, it was just an audition. It was, it came, I remember I was like in bed and I got the email and I was like, oh, cool. And yeah, just piggybacking off of what Luke said, I think it was after I got officially cast, one of the first movies I watched was The Misfits, which I had seen before, but it was sort of like the only thing that I had kind of to latch onto, because I didn't know that many, Westerns. And I remember, and I watched Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. And then Luke told me about Y Tu Mama Tambien, which I had never seen. And then also American Honey was a big one that we were all like throwing films around. But yeah, it was just an audition and I just couldn't let it go. I just kept, I think I auditioned, I made like 3 tapes or something and kept being like to my agent, I was like, if they have notes for me, I'll retape,
That's great. Your chemistry with Charlie Plummer, it looks so effortless. It's so beautiful. It's so natural. Did you guys have a lot of rehearsals? Did it just come so naturally?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, we went out for lunch a couple of times, but I think it was just, like these two people are meeting each other in the movie. So we tried not to like get to know each other all that well, like let there be like room for exploring on camera. And he's so amazing. He's such an honest performer. So it was really easy to keep it grounded. And me and Renee Rosado, who plays Pepe, we really tried to bring like a depth to our relationship because we assumed that they had been together for a very long time. So we like every week we went on a date and like he bought me perfume that I would wear every time we were in a scene. Like we did all these like, little things to kind of build it up.
That's amazing. Nice. Looping back to Luke, with this being your first feature film, I know you have a history of directing music videos. How did directing the music videos prepare you for your first feature?
Well, I think a few things. I mean, I think music videos are an incredible art form, that I'm so happy that they've actually been kind of coming back. In recent years, they sort of like dipped for a bit, but I do think it's just such a powerful medium. Music is a really big influence for me. I mean, I grew up on outlaw country and folk, which there's just so much more poetry and emotion and romance in that type of music. And so that was a big part. Music itself was a big part of kind of establishing the tone of the film. And I made a playlist that I shared with all of the cast and they really got into it. But pairing music with visuals is such a powerful, emotive way of telling stories. So I wanted moments like that in the film, like the dream sequences where you're really getting into Dylan's point of view, like the masturbation scene and some of these other moments are sort of like music video moments. But I would also say that we shot the film in 17 days. So my history with both photography and music videos, I think, helped prepare me. I've been on set a lot and I know what I need. And I've learned how to move quickly because, oftentimes music videos are very ambitious days where you're trying to get a lot done.
Definitely. I particularly enjoyed the the scene when they were putting makeup on Dylan, and with you had the lighting effects and everything. I thought that was like straight out of a music video. Really, really well done. It was a absolutely gorgeous scene.
Thank you.
Yeah. The other scene that really touched us both was, I believe it's Mason's character is talking to Charlie's brother, and Charlie's brother asks, are you a guy or a girl? And then they say, I'm neither. And he's just like, cool. I just thought we both were really struck by that scene, and we thought it was so beautiful. And we were just wondering, like, that was the only real time that I noticed where like gender came up, or any, like, there's no real hate speech in the movie. Was that on purpose to leave that kind of discussion out, just given like the political nature and the election year and everything that's happening in the US?
Well, I started writing this film in 2018. So, it's been a long time in the making, but I really wanted a lot of the tension in the film to exist more in Dylan's mind, but also our mind of as the viewer, a fear of what might happen, because we're so conditioned to expect that from all the stories we've been told about queerness, especially rural queerness and tragedy. So, pretty much every rural queer story is a tragedy. Brokeback Mountain, Boys Don't Cry, the Matthew Shepard story. So I really wanted to peel back those cliches to reveal other possibilities, which I think for some people might feel like a fantasy, especially given the climate that we're in now. But from my own lived experience, living in rural queer communities, it's very much a real and authentic truth. And oftentimes people are not stopping to explain or apologize for their identities. And I really think that it's important for there to be more joy and celebration and love on screen for films like this, and not always have it be about the way that queer and trans people are threatened and preyed upon and inflicted brutal, dehumanizing violence every single day. Like, why do we need to see that on screen all the time? And I don't think any of us really want to see films that are just always about identity politics either. Like, I don't think that these identities can really contain who we are, and no one likes to be preached to. So it felt appropriate for that curious question to come from a kid, and the attitude of the film being very much of like a nonchalant, like, it's no big deal. It really shouldn't be a big deal. Just like, cool, live and let live. That's kind of what America should be.
I totally agree. I thought it was very refreshing not to have, like you said, to not have the trauma. But yes, to your point, I was expecting something to come up. So I was glad. I like that you didn't go that route. Eve, I think the only thing I really wanted to ask, other than if you have anything to add to that, was did you have to learn how to ride a horse, or did you already know how to ride a horse? Something a little less intense.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, kind of when I first read the script, there were like many phases to kind of wanting to do this. And the first phase was like, oh my God, it would be so exciting to get to learn to ride a horse and to get to work with horses. And that was like the initial kind of thing that really roped me in. But I remember even reading the script, and it really showed me how much even I was conditioned to expect something. Like, I was just like, any page now, there's going to be something bad's going to happen. Something bad has to happen. Someone's going to get, harassed or whatever. And like, by the time I finished the script and it had never happened, I was like, oh my God, this is what a palate cleanser from everything else I've read and everything else I've done. I've been in like makeup trailers putting like black eyes on for, like my entire career, every couple of jobs. So that was so refreshing to me. And then I just, I was in love with Sky as a person. And when we don't have to worry about that trauma and you can really see her for who she is, it's like, she is so free. She's so grounded. And she's like, the most in her body person I've ever played and maybe ever will play. So yeah, it was really refreshing for me too.
Amazing. And then what is the Tony? Did you have something you were going to ask? I think I was cutting you off.
No. Go ahead.
What has the response been to the film? Because I know it premiered at South by Southwest last year, and then it was at TIFF, where we unfortunately weren't able to see it, but we're so glad we were able to see it now. What has the general response been?
Oh, it's been phenomenal. I think, we went to Frameline in San Francisco just recently and won an award, and then Raindance in London and won an award there. We just won an award at Critics' Choice in Los Angeles. So, but then, we also, like, the Letterboxd is off the charts. So it's amazing. I feel like oftentimes films are either critically acclaimed or audiences like it. And it's been really beautiful to see that critics are really rallying around this, but also audiences seem to be loving it and very vocal about it. And there's this kind of groundswell happening that I think, we don't have a big marketing budget. We're a little indie. And so for people to be kind of supporting it in that way and talking to their people about it and going to see it in theaters, and it's been pretty amazing. A lot of our screenings in opening weekend have been sold out, and I think we need this right now, and I think people feel that.
Amazing. Well, we both loved the movie. Congratulations on it to both of you. Eve, you were incredible in the film.
Thank you.
And all the best on whatever comes next and the rest of the screenings. And I hope the groundswell continues.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Absolutely great film, Luke. I'm definitely going to be paying attention to your work in the oncoming years. It's a hell of a debut.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
No problem at all. All the best to you guys.
Thank you.